Thanks for checking out this movie review video. So this is for the 2020 horror documentary Hail to the Deadites, and if you can't tell from the title, it has everything to do with the Evil Dead franchise. Specifically, it's about the Evil Dead franchise fandom. Now, it doesn't really dive into the origins of everything, and it doesn't get deep into the actual genesis of the franchise or any of the particular films. It's mainly focused on people who are big fans of the Evil Dead, specifically singling out a few of the bigger fans and getting kind of their personal stories of how they got into it, which is always really interesting and fun to hear. But there's also a mix in there of interviewing some of the actors involved, the effects guy, Tom Sullivan, and also, obviously, Bruce Campbell, because you can't really do something like this and not get Bruce Campbell and seem like super legit. So, just saying. So, it's pretty good. I will say up top, I do recommend this. I did enjoy it. It's not like the most amazing documentary I've ever seen, but it is a very solidly done, very well done documentary, and I do recommend it for people who like horror documentaries, especially people who are into the Evil Dead, because this will kind of give you even more immersion into that fandom. And there's a lot of clips of horror conventions and seeing a lot of cool, collectibles for the Evil Dead and getting some cool, interesting stories related to Evil Dead. But anyway, let me backtrack a little bit. This documentary is written and directed by Steve Villeneueve, who also did films Stories of a Gravedigger and Under the Scares. Quick synopsis, I basically already gave it to you there. I definitely dig the music in this. There is a bunch of kind of fan-done music that ends up in this that if you listen to the lyrics while it's playing, it has to do with the Evil Dead franchise, literally lyrics about the films. So definitely listen for that. I really enjoy that. Oh, also real quick, I do need to say this is no spoiler review since it's a 2020 film. So you can watch this. I'm not spoiling anything. You can still watch the film, and it's available on Shudder streaming service when I'm doing this review. So anyway, dig the music. Love the music. Also, the intro to the film, it's kind of this montage of a bunch of different scenes that are reminiscent of the franchise. They're not taken directly from, but they're kind of newer fan interpretations of those scenes and specific iconic things from some of the franchise. So I think the way they put that together, it's very visually appealing, it's very engaging, and it's definitely very Evil Dead. So I really enjoyed the intro quite a bit. A lot of times it's kind of hard to get an attention-grabbing, fun, interesting intro, but I think they did a killer job with it on this. All the technical aspects of this film, for the most part, really good. Well, not even for the most part. All the technical aspects are good. Great directing, great cinematography. There are no audio problems. There's no lighting problems, nothing. Technically, they knew what they were doing. Steve Villeneueve and his crew, whoever was working with him, knew what they were doing for sure. They got good interviews, they sound good, they look good, they cut it really well. It's not a film that's too long. I think it's an hour and 18 minutes, so it's even below an hour and a half. So you're not wasting your time watching this at all. They really know how to edit it and keep it at a good clip. So kudos on all that great technical achievement with this film, and it just makes it so much easier to watch. At no point did I feel like it was slowing down too much, so it really does kind of fly by. They get a decent amount of fan interviews and stories, and some are actually pretty touching. There are actually a decent amount of pretty touching stories. One in particular was really touching, but then there's kind of post-text at the very end of, where people are now and what's going on with their lives since, because this project was worked on for a while. I think this project was worked on for about 7 years or so. So this is a long time in the making type thing. And you'll see that. You'll notice that, all the conventions, there's no COVID protocol type stuff going on or anything like that. So you can tell that it was pre-2020. So yeah, but a lot of work went into this. A lot of time to get all this stuff, because they literally travel around to a bunch of horror conventions to get the interviews they need to get with the fans and with the actors and other people involved with the franchise. So very much appreciative. But I was going back to what I was originally saying, the stories. I really dig the stories from these people who are deep fans of the Evil Dead franchise. And like I said, there are some really touching ones, and those are kind of the ones that do pull at your heartstrings to a degree, and you're just kind of like, oh, that's pretty nice. But then there are just ones that are also just fun. And I would also think that, you know, if you're watching this and you are a fan of horror in general, like, the excitement that you end up getting from some of these people and their origin stories of how they got into horror, or how they got into specifically Evil Dead stuff, will kind of resonate with you. Like, you'll feel that. You'll understand where they're coming from. Because I did. There's plenty of footage at conventions, which is always nice to see, especially in a documentary about the fans. So it's kind of like you have to have that, and there's plenty of that. They did a very good job. I especially like there's a portion where they really focus on Tom Sullivan, the effects guy for Evil Dead, who goes around and does a lot of stuff with conventions. And I thought that was particularly interesting because I wasn't aware that he was that involved, because I've never been to a convention where he's been. But seeing that now and seeing how nice of a guy and how cool he is, I definitely want to see if in the future, when things, you know, are settled down more, if I could meet this guy, because seems like a cool dude to meet. It's always fun hearing personal connections to horror fandoms, so if you enjoy that, there's definitely plenty of that here. I think it's, you know, kind of restating a little bit of what I already said, but really, if you enjoy kind of immersing yourself in fandoms, if you enjoy watching documentaries like this just to feel like you're reconnecting with a fandom you already have, like The Evil Dead in this instance, it'll definitely be like a feel-good time for you to watch this. You get some clips of interviews with actors involved with the film, effects guy Tom Sullivan, Bruce Campbell. Obviously, it's always great to have that stuff. Being about fandom, they didn't necessarily need to have those interviews, but it really shows that they put in the work and they kind of went that extra mile to make sure they had that, because it's good to see the other side of things. You know, it is mainly about the fandom, about the, you know, hailing to the Deadites, the fans of the franchise, but it's cool to see the actors react to that fandom and kind of get some of their stories of not just how much they appreciate fans, but also some stories of particular interactions they've had with fans that maybe mean a lot to them, because it then reminds us of actually how cool and nice these people actually are, and how us being fans of stuff like this actually matters to them. Because a lot of the times I know you can kind of meet these people and feel like, you know, they meet so many people all the time, and most likely they don't remember any of us, because, you know, we're just one of 1,000 plus people they've met in a single day at these conventions. But sometimes they have those stories that just have resonated with them from particular fans, and it means a lot. And even if it's not your particular story or any super number of stories of people like really resonating with them in particular, there's still this feeling of just like the fandom in general as a whole meaning a lot to a lot of these people. So, especially when you see the people who weren't in huge roles with the film and didn't go on to do a whole lot other than the franchise, and then kind of later in life figured out, oh, like, people are huge into this franchise, and I now am kind of a celebrity because of that. Like, that's kind of interesting. Those people in particular are very thankful for that situation because they didn't expect it. You know, I mean, think about being that person and making that film and being like, oh, I'm in this such a small, insignificant role, and we don't even know if this film's going to be big. And then it is successful, but your role isn't like a big deal. And then decades later, all of a sudden it is, and everyone wants to meet you at these conventions and like pay to get your autograph. It's such an interesting thing to think about. There is an ending statement by Ted Raimi before they go to the end credits that I'm kind of confused about. Like, I understand what he was trying to say with the statement, but the way he got there seemed like kind of jumbled, kind of confused, and it didn't really work, in my opinion. It's not a big deal, but I kind of think that they should have tried to end the film in a different way because of that. Had it been more of a concise statement about what he was trying to get to, yeah, that's fine, end it that way, but the quote wasn't that great. Like, it was kind of confused. It's kind of all over the place, so I would have gone with something else to actually end it. But that said, the end isn't truly the end, because during the credits, they throw in a bunch of extra little interview pieces, plenty from Bruce Campbell too, and those are fun. I always love when they add that little extra stuff so you're not just sitting there just looking at credits. You're actually seeing something else. It's like extending a little bit of the film. And like I said, this is under an hour and a half, so it's totally fine to do something like that. It's actually more of a treat to people to do something like that. So, I enjoyed this, all things considered. It was good. Like I said, a lot of great technical stuff. There's a lot of fun, interesting, touching, funny content to it. And yeah, I enjoy it. So out of 5 stars with half stars in play, I'm going to give it a very solid 3.5-star rating. I enjoy it, and I recommend it to people, especially if you're big into Evil Dead. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on this. Go ahead and put it in the comments, and we can talk spoilers in the comments. That's fine. So did you love it, hate it, in between, whatever? Also, do me a quick favor, hit subscribe. If you haven't already, well, first of all, if you have, thank you very much. Appreciate that. If you haven't, please consider doing it, because that's your way to repay me if you like this video or any video I've ever done. It literally helps keep me motivated to do that. So please subscribe. Also hit the notification bell button, because then you'll know when I'm putting up new videos. And I do a bunch of different videos, so there's plenty to watch. But regardless, I really do thank you for taking your time to watch this. And until next time, keep it brutal.